Good morning. My name is Bach. I'm one of the co-founders at Collective DAO. And my topic today is evolution of services for storage providers, focused specifically on a pledge component. I'm in crypto since 2017, 3 years at Protocol Labs Network. Previously was building secure finance, all this stuff. As a lot of you might know already, Filecoin has a unique combination. It's essentially proof of work and proof of stake components at the same time, which creates a double spend for storage providers to invest in both hardware, get access to FIL, lock it for 6 to 18 months in order to get mining rewards. But the lack of native staking mechanics creates a fundamental network imbalance in which you need to have a high inflation, roughly today about 40%, and the only utility for FIL as an asset class is storing data. For storage providers, it's the cheapest setup is $250,000 on a hardware and around 200,000 FIL to onboard this hardware and connect it to the network. Since the mainnet launch, a lot of storage providers have been used centralized lending, and it was a temporary solution. And we see that market has been evolving, and the Filecoin virtual machine launch has changed the landscape significantly. At the same time, the major competitions that we have in the market is people still building lending protocols and call them staking protocols, but the problem gets bigger and bigger as those lending protocols essentially don't follow the native distribution of rewards, where your rewards as a storage provider are going to be allocated in non-linear way, and it's an overtime positions that you have with 75% of your rewards vested over 6 months, which it was a surprise for us that a lot of storage providers actually don't understand that any lending solution creates an imbalance for them. It makes them unprofitable for up to 210 days. This not profitability does not include sector onboarding costs. So if you onboard CC capacity for 32 gigabytes, your profitability for a year could be halved, meaning that in the whole year, if you use lending plus 32 gigabytes CC, you have no profit in the whole year. Essentially, the network needs to reinvent the staking itself, and we are building the first truly native liquid staking protocol. It's a simple profit sharing model. 40% goes to stakers, 60% goes to SPs. We have about 6% of storage capacity right now, 1.3 exabyte in quality adjusted power. Demand from our side, 25 to 45 million FIL. Based on our learnings, we make 40% more profits for SPs. Instead of, we don't have this mess with 210 days on profitability. SPs are profitable right away. We increase the profitable period on the ceiling onboarding part by 50 days. For stakers, it's 100% slashing protection because we require storage providers to post collateral. This collateral is not the same way as a lot of storage providers provide collateral in the lending services because we don't allow recapitation. Fundamentally, it exposes systemic risk on the Filecoin. And our strategy is to onboard the best storage providers. On average, they make 4 to 5 times rewards on RBP basis, because this is the way how you can identify the profitability on the dollar cost against the hardware. It was shocking to realize that even the biggest storage providers it's really hard for them to understand the complexity of the Filecoin economy. So we've studied the Filecoin economy for the last 3 years. We've built very simple and complex financial models to optimize. And now we are in a position to be able to partner with storage providers and explain them what the actions and what is the ceiling strategy might be for them to optimize their returns. This is by far the only, we are the only team right now in the competitions that is able to provide this information. And if you look at the staking evolution in other chains, let's say Ethereum, Solana, you have different layers of complexity adding on top of it. We will see more and more complexity over time with Filecoin staking. And our strategy is to build a primitive layer on which a lot of different projects and protocols could be vertically integrated. One side of our actions is towards optimizing storage providers, integrating them into potentially selling as a service, additional revenue streams, and compute networks to maximize the profits from their idle hardware, as well as changing the whole perception of Filecoin as an asset class to be stakeable in the understanding of broader crypto community, because Filecoin is sort of under the radar for greater community of Ethereum stakers, and we work closely with centralized staking providers to expand the Filecoin presence for the community from other chains. We think that DeFi might not be necessarily on Ethereum. We might go back to layer 2s of Ethereum and Ethereum itself. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
All good. I have a question. What do you think is the main bottlenecks today for enabling, for example, SPs to get more collateral or get more fill for a pledge today?
Yeah. So there are essentially two bottlenecks. A lot of storage providers are much more comfortable with lending. So what we end up with is one-to-one educating them into what is the risk exposed by the lending protocols. And the second part is on the collateral component, the concentration of Filecoin is interesting. So you have to work with those people directly that have Filecoin and also educate them why over the midterm and long term they need to stake their fill, holding, especially if it's whales, because if the ROI of Filecoin mining goes down, it might force several types of storage providers going down and going into bankruptcy, which will affect negatively the Filecoin price, therefore their holdings. So it's more of a strategy for preserving the wealth they have already in fill.
Do you think the high interest rate puts some SPs off from doing lending today?
It's not necessarily high. You need to compare your interest rate with your ROI over pledge. Essentially, the historical numbers are SPs were making above 100%. They were paying 25 to 30%, which is okay. Now they are making 40%. They have to pay 16 or 20%, depending on the platform, which is percentage of the mining rewards is higher. Whenever you have to pay 30% of your mining rewards, the additional financial pressure could be easily absorbed, but not in a case whenever the Filecoin rewards are going down. So what we will see in the future is that SPs realizing that it's too much of the prepayments and it's too much of the, like, it doesn't follow the distribution of rewards, which even, it may even accelerate them towards bankruptcy. And this is like, for me personally, it's sort of insane. So this is why, I mean, imagine Lido working as a lending protocol. None of the node validators will use it. Why? Because it's essentially additional risk for node validators. And the risk is shared in any of the staking protocols, right? It's depending on the like inflation rate of the fundamental networks, underlying network.
So how can we fix that?
The fix is, it's essentially setting up the standardized distribution of rewards. We think that storage providers probably have to get more than a half because of the complexity of the storage provider business. Centralized profit sharing models today, they provide like SP only 40%. We have to flip the table. Otherwise, if essentially you squeeze the mining rewards from storage providers too much, they will go bankrupt. Therefore, you will have less RBP on the network, therefore less rewards. So instead of squeezing out the network and maximizing returns for stakers, in balancing network, we have to balance this back up to give storage providers an option to grow three times faster, because it will benefit the whole network collectively.